is there an exercise you can prescribe for my feet? Is there an exercise you can prescribe for the soreness in my knees? How about my bad hips? Can you prescribe exercises for that? Or how about my upper back and my neck, etc.? And here's the amazing thing, is that exercise is amazing cure-all in a way. And sometimes it's described that way, that exercise is medicine. And it really can be very helpful to alleviate a host of problems that we have in our modern day life. However, and this might be a little controversial, exercise is not enough. That idea of exercise is missing part of the equation of our lives. And this is why, is that our bodies adapt to what we do most often, not necessarily to what we do with the best intentions. And that's a paraphrase, or that's a quote from Katie Bowman with her Nutritious Movement Institute. And what it's saying is that, like, for example, if I know I'm having some problems with my back or whatnot because I have to sit all day for work, and so somebody prescribes to me a set of exercises to help strengthen my posture. Well, that's great. I can go to the gym and work out for an hour. But then if I continue to go and sit for 16 hours a day and then be sedentary sleeping for the next number of hours, 7 or 8 hours, that large amount of time, that 16 to 23 hours of being sedentary, is going to far outweigh the 1 hour of exercise that I do. And that's the problem, is that, and this is another metaphor that Katie Bowman uses in her Nutritious Movement Institute, in fact it's in the name, is that movement is like the nutrients in our diet. And so we know through nutrition that we need a huge variety of nutrients to be fully healthy. For example, if I'm not getting enough vitamin C, I'm going to get diseases like scurvy. But that doesn't mean that I can then rely only on vitamin C for my diet, or I'll miss that whole other host of nutrients that I need for the rest of the functions of my body. And movement's a little bit the same way, and so is exercise. There's this law of specificity that comes with exercise, is that our body reacts to the specific movements that we do. And this is why exercise doesn't quite cut it. I could be a biker, for example, and I really love to bicycle. And that's great. Biking is an amazing exercise. But if that's all I do, my upper body is not going to move the way it needs. And my hips and my legs are never going to extend fully like they need to when I'm walking and running, etc. And I'm going to lose those capabilities. And so, what is the remedy? What would you do instead? Well, exercise is fine, but instead of, I'm going to throw a bunch of analogies at you today. So, it's kind of like if you're taking a poison and then you're just given the antidote. And that's great, maybe that helps you survive, but it's probably better to just stop taking the poison. And then maybe you'll get healthier. Same like another good analogy is if you're driving a car and I want to get somewhere, but I have the emergency brake on. Sure, if I slam on the gas, I can probably get the car to move, but I'm really going to wear out that car pretty fast. So exercise can help, alleviate some problem, but maybe it's not addressing the cause. And that's what it goes down to. In our modern day life, we've created a host of conveniences and habits and certain lifestyles that might be detrimental to our body. And so we can exercise to counteract that, but it's probably better just to figure out what's causing the problem and do less of it. So here's a good example, shoes. So if I were to come back here and step on this half cylinder here, this kind of is an example of, like, most shoes have quite a lift in the heel. So I'm just putting my heels up on something with my toes down, and not even high heel shoes. This is, you know, even athletic shoes have some sort of padding in the heel that changes the whole configuration of my foot, which then changes how my knees react to my ankles, and my hips might change their configuration in relationship to my feet, and it goes all the way up into my head. Over time, if I'm doing that all the time, my body is going to react in a way that's going to start causing some problems. And so sure, I could get an exercise, and this is one actually I do recommend all the time, is to do a calf stretch. I can drop my heels lower and stretch out those calves. But it might be a better idea to figure out, is there an alternative? And so for example, I have like this nice little shoe here, which is kind of based on minimalist style footwear, or whatever emulates most closely to the natural shape of the foot. And so if you notice, there's zero lift in that heel. There's zero padding there. You know, the toes to the heel are all just straight in a flat line. Plus it's very flexible, which makes the foot a lot more responsive. And so that's just one example that you can look at. Maybe if you're having foot or ankle or knee or hip problems, check out what's happening under your feet. And maybe the modern day shoe, you might want to readjust that. You might want to think of another type of shoe to use. Now this can apply to anything in our lives. You know, you can think, well, a good way to think about it is it found in nature? And we have so many conveniences in our life, and they're great. They help us live our lives better. But if it's something that if it's something that is robbing us from the movement that we should be doing on a day-to-day basis, well, maybe you want to decide to do a little bit less of it and then see how it affects you. Another good example is like, maybe you want to eat the whole food instead of blending it up in the Vitamix. Now, I love a Vitamix, but the chewing motion is actual movement that we're lacking in our lives. So anyway, I hope this is just some food for thought, or some movement for thought. And examine your life, your habitat, your environment, and say, where could I be getting a little bit more movement? Or what are the things that I'm doing that maybe I could do a little less of? So we can try to find that balance. Okay, have a good week. See you next time.